Alright, Ronan MMA, welcome back to the channel. Now, throughout history in MMA, there have been quite a few signature moves you could think of off the top of your head. A couple that come to mind right now: John Jones's oblique kicks, George St. Pierre's Superman jab, and things like that, right? But in this video, I want to focus on signature finishing moves, fatalities, if you will. Not in the literal sense. No, I'm not talking about death. We're talking about Mortal Kombat finishing moves, right? Or a final smash in Smash Bros, or what have you, dude. You get the idea, okay? A signature finishing move that is synonymous with one particular individual, okay? So in this list, I'm going to go over my 5 favorite signature finishing moves throughout MMA history. I just kicked my desk. I do apologize for that. But regardless, dude, I have left a few people off of this list that I feel almost deserve to be on here. So at the end, I will give a few honorable mentions. Now, if I have left anybody out, even of the honorable mentions, please let me know down in the comments below. Let me know your favorite signature finishing move from a figure throughout MMA history. Okay, now we are going to start with number 5, as I said, which will be Rampage Jackson and his slam KOs. Okay, now slam KOs are rare enough as is. We do not see them very often, period. Rampage Jackson throughout his MMA career managed to get 2 of them, 2 different ways, by the way. They weren't the same slam, the most famous one being against Ricardo Arona. But as well as a ton of highlights using slams to escape bad positions such as triangles or things like that, really tight guards, and or to mount an offense, which it would usually end up leading to a finish because the man would slam you with literally everything that he fucking had, and it was terrifying to watch sometimes, okay? But Rampage Jackson, when you see a slam KO today, or when you even think of a slam KO, typically the first person that comes to mind, if you were over the age of like 20 or you've been watching the UFC for a good long while, first person that comes to mind is Rampage Jackson. He is absolutely synonymous with slam KOs, and as I said, even though he didn't get a KO every time he used a slam, he used them throughout his whole career pretty goddamn effectively. Okay, now let's move up to number 4. Number 4 on my list, dude, Dan Henderson and his H-bomb, okay? This might be the scariest follow-up shot in MMA history, if I'm being honest, dude. This is the type of strike that it would almost make you want to preemptively tap to strikes, verbally or otherwise, dude, if he even got you so much as hurt. Because you knew that if you hit that canvas and you weren't able to fucking fetal up or what have you, dude, he was going to drop everything he had onto your chin. Obviously, the most famous one being Michael Bisping, but he did it to Wanderlei Silva and a few others, right? Bro's got not a single care in the world for his opponent and is responsible for countless dead fucking brain cells. He might be the reason we have to listen to Michael Bisping on commentary to this day, which I don't like him for that. But that knockout was absolutely fucking terrifying and beautiful all at the same time, dude. But yeah, there's not many people that have a move literally named after them, and essentially all it is a big follow-up shot once your opponents hit the ground. But the way that he would do it, the ferocity with which he would do it, he was trying to put his whole fucking body through the canvas. He wanted to break your face. Point blank, period, dude. All right, moving up to number 3 on my list. OSP and the Von Flue choke, obviously, right? There were many people unironically clamoring for the choke to be renamed to the Ovince St. Preux choke because he's got more of these chokes recorded than the inventor of the choke itself, right? Much like a slam KO, unbelievably rare submission. We don't see it a whole lot, but when we do see it, it is more than likely coming from Ovince St. Preux, right? He's got 4 on his professional MMA record. Each of those 4 came in the UFC, which is the best fight promotion on the fucking planet, and if I'm not mistaken, he has at least half of all recorded Von Flue chokes throughout history. I do apologize for that light shining in. There's nothing I can do about the fucking sun, dude. Moving up to number 2 on my list, okay? Alex Pereira's left hook. This had to be on here. Absolutely fucking devastating, right? More left hook KOs than we can even count, pardon me. The only reason I didn't put this at number 1, I'm going to be honest, 1, I'm biased as shit, dude. I love Alex Pereira, and I didn't want people to accuse me of putting him number 1. Just because he's my favorite fighter, but also because most of the success that he had with his left hook, most of his left hook knockouts come in kickboxing, which is a martial art, but we're talking about MMA more specifically here. But, you know, if you think about it, dude's won 2 belts in 2 weight classes now in the UFC, basically with a left hook. That's gotten him all of his big opportunities. You know, he knocked out Sean Strickland to eventually get the title shot. His left hook started things off against Israel Adesanya. We just watched him finish Yuri Prochazka starting off with the left hook. But if you look at his kickboxing record, it's fucking unbelievable. And there are not many people that can actually eat one of those shots and not just die immediately. So credit to Israel Adesanya, credit to Yuri Prochazka for eating that shit and having to get, you know, some follow-up shots in there after the fact. But like the Weasel once said, right, this is the most destructive punch in all of sports. He's got multiple setups for it. The technique is absolutely perfect. The power behind it is insane. His ability to land it when literally every single one of his opponents knows that shit is coming and he can still land it. That makes it more impressive for me when he does land it, because literally every single one of his opponents would be looking out for it. They know it's only a matter of time. They know his setups, because it's not like he's got unlimited of them, but he's just so good at doing those setups that even though you know it's coming, he'll still put it on your fucking chin. And if he does, chances are you're at the very least hitting the mat, okay? Now, moving up to number 1 on this list, which is Mirko Cro Cop. Right leg hospital, left leg cemetery. All right, now, a good head kick is my favorite kind of knockout, like by fucking far. I love seeing a good head kick. There's just something about him, okay? Something that I love about Cro Cop's left high kick, or his left kick in general, is the diversity in which he uses it, not just in the fight, but the diversity of finishes that he has with just one limb, right? Since he was back in Pride, we saw a lot of kicks to grounded opponents and things like that, which I fucking love, that we see guys who fail takedowns on a regular basis actually get punished for them. I love going back and watching old Pride fights, dude, for that reason. But regardless, he would use it to the body. Also, he's gotten a few finishes like that. He would set some of his finishes up by going to the leg first. He would butcher dudes' legs. Absolutely fucking savage, dude. And the amount of head kicks that this guy's landed in his day it's unusual. You do not see somebody land that many high kicks. Now, to be fair, the competition he was facing at the time throughout Pride wasn't maybe what it would be today, but still, dude, he was way ahead of his time. Absolute fucking savage. I will never forgive Brendan Schaub for knocking him out, but regardless, dude. And again, much like Alex Pereira, everybody knew they were coming, but very few of them could stop it because he could set it up properly. Also, it was just so fucking powerful. Even if you got one hand up there, not good enough. Do you know what I mean? Now, I want to give a few honorable mentions before this video ends, okay? Now, I didn't include her on this list, but in my opinion, I probably could have found somebody to replace her with because of how many times she finished a fight like that, and that's Ronda fucking Rousey, dude, okay? As arrogant and as annoying she may be at times, or may have been at times towards the end of her career, and as annoying the people that glazed the ever-living shit out of her may have been, like Joe Rogan saying that she could beat up half the 135 division, Joe Rogan saying she could beat up Floyd Mayweather, all this shit, right? While that may be unbelievably annoying, I do miss her to an extent, and I'll tell you why, dude. Today, how often do we get a woman that finishes fights on a regular basis? Even Amanda Nunes, who probably one of the hardest hitting women that has ever fought in the UFC, still had some stinky fights, dude. Still went to decision a few times where you were like, okay, really, dude? Laying on top of chicks like Germaine de Randamie, Juliana Pena in the second fight, things like that. Ronda Rousey did not go to a decision a single time, even in her 2 losses. Do you know what I mean? And every single one of her fights was finished with an armbar. It's unbelievable. You don't see that ever. You very even rarely see this in men's MMA, that somebody has a technique that they go to that often and they're able to pull off that often. But besides that, she is the only female I can think of off the top of my head that actually does have a signature finishing move that is used on a regular basis. Do you know what I mean? You might be able to, maybe Valentina Shevchenko with her crucifix, but not to the extent that Ronda Rousey used it. Also, Josh Emmett and his overhand right, obviously feinting the level change, coming over top with an overhand right. Whether he's only gotten a couple people out of there with that, but he has dropped quite a fucking few. And the few that he did knock out, they are brutal, savage knockouts. Again, dude, there have been plenty throughout history. Let me know if I missed any. Let me know your guys' favorites down in the comments below. I would greatly fucking appreciate it, dude. Like and subscribe. Again, I would greatly appreciate it. I'll see you at the next video. Bye-bye.